All right, y'all. What's good, man? We back with another video on the channel. This is going to be a little bit new for the MMA channel. I'm going to be reacting to videos based upon MMA, giving my takes on it. And I'm just, just going to be another kind of, content that I'm going to be doing on this channel. So let's get straight into it. Shout out to MMA Explain. The original video will be in the link in the description. And we're going to get right into it. Let's see why the UFC feels worse now.
The
I would love to know.
UFC is worth over $12 billion. Okay, stop. This isn't another video about fighter pay, unions, revenue splits, or how bald Dana White is. Maybe not that one. But it's not about how boxers get paid more either. None of that. This is about you and me, the fans, and why the UFC experience is getting worse when there's absolutely no reason for it. We all love the UFC, but I am going to break down a few key things that could improve and make the UFC feel great again. So if there's a problem with something, that means there was a time when there wasn't a problem, right? What changed? Was it the fights? Nope. In fact, most people would argue the fights are more competitive and better than ever. Sure, some fighters are more calculated now. Some play it safer. But that's fine. The fights aren't the problem. So, what is? Maybe it's the promotion of the fights. Islam versus Ilya is supposed to happen on the international fight.
No, let's not disrespect JDM versus Bilal, because that was a great main event. We didn't expect it, but I get it. Not the biggest names if you're not an MMA hardcore, but it is what it is.
Week, just over a month from now. And yet, the only thing we're seeing is Chael Sonnen talking in circles, saying one thing in one video, then the complete opposite in the next. Meanwhile, Dana White is out here...
Okay, so I want to talk about that really fast. This video was made about, what, 4 days ago? The fight with JDM and Bilal just happened over the weekend. So, right now, the plan is for Islam to go up against JDM for the welterweight championship. And then Ilia Topuria to fight against Charles Oliveira for the interim. Or if they decide to strip Islam, it'll be for the undisputed. But that's the plans currently right now for that whole title picture, So just clarifying that.
Promoting Canelo versus Crawford, a boxing super fight set for September 12th. This fight will sell itself, but that's the problem. As fans, we want more. Because at the end of the day, the UFC isn't just about the fight. Sure, the fight is the most important part, but it's also about everything around it. The build-up, the background story, the viral moments, the bad blood. That's why we're hyped for Ilya versus Islam or Jones versus Aspinall, and not nearly as excited for Bilal versus JDM, even if the fight might be great. Instead, this fight will get an embedded episode the week of where Islam talks.
Brother, if you want your son high-level wrestling, send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget.
And Ilya tries to trash talk him.
Please, loudly, shut up, man.
And it's not just this one. This is the UFC's entire promotional strategy now. Announce the fight on a random Tuesday. Post a graphic. Drop a mid-level promo 48 hours before the event. Hope the loyal fans tune in like they always do. No build-up, no storylines, no real effort. It feels lazy because it is lazy. Remember when Aldo versus Conor was booked? We got a full-on press tour from Dublin to Rio to Vegas. Multiple face-offs. It felt like a global event. Like history was being made. Now, for a card as stacked as UFC 315...
Let's pause on that though. Why? Because of Conor McGregor. And I was going to say this at the beginning of the video. I think it's just star power is what you can say the UFC's lacking in a sense. I'm a mega fan, man. So like, I think about guys like Sean O'Malley. I think about Khamzat Chimaev. I think about Islam, Ilia Topuria. I think about those guys. But he just mentioned something like a build-up with Conor. The reason why they did that whole world tour is because it was Conor McGregor. And Jose Aldo was such a dominant champion for so long. It was a major fight. You know what I mean? So I think it's just the lack of star power. Like mega star power, I should say.
We got one press conference. A month before the event. That's it. No build-up, no tour, no energy, just one stage media day and move on. Every week feels like just another Apex card, another 1 a.m. main event.
And also, you can't expect the UFC to put so much money into a fight that's not generating the numbers that they're looking for, right? So if the numbers aren't trending towards something that makes sense, why would the UFC put all their money into promoting a fight that they're not going to see the return on investment? It doesn't make too much sense. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a mega fight to where they want to do a world tour, like when they did Conor versus Floyd, and they went to all these different press conferences, Canada, LA, all the different things that they did. That's worth it because they know they're going to get a return on investment. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect the UFC to do these crazy, and I'm not saying the production can't be a little bit better for the build-up, But you can't expect so many different press conferences for a fight that's not really generating too much numbers. You know what I'm saying? There's not really too much good pre-sales or whatever you want to call it, pay-per-view buys and things like that. So, just my thoughts.
Another vodka energy drink DraftKings or Popeyes ad for the 200th time.
All right, guys, here we are. We're at the Popeyes.
But this was the only ad they ever needed.
Derek, what's your issue with Daniel? I want to know too.
He disrespected Popeye's chicken on a commercial few years ago.
But we still show up because we want it to be good. But the UFC knows that. They know the fan base is loyal, and they're using that as an excuse to do less. Same with fighter pay. They don't have to pay more. They don't have to promote more because they know we'll keep watching either way. Debating rankings that barely mean anything because deep down, we love this sport. We complain because we care. And before someone comments, then go watch something else if you don't like it.
That's never the.
We want to watch the UFC just the way it should be. Why don't we complain about Taylor Swift? Because we don't give a single fuck. And despite all the laziness in the promo, the Apex fatigue, and the recycled press conferences with stupid questions like, what does this fight mean to you?
Yeah, so some great points right there, man. Like, let's just rewind that a little bit because I definitely want to address that.
Taylor Swift. Because we don't give a single fuck.
We don't.
And despite all the...
Embedded, I love Embedded, but I'll be honest, like, for JDM versus Bilal, I didn't watch a single Embedded. I like JDM as a fighter. I kind of like his personality too, but he's just not that entertaining to the casual fan or overall. And then Bilal, I don't think Bilal has that bad of a personality. I think he's pretty cool guy. His fight style to me was not that boring, but to the casual and most fans really didn't like it. So I wasn't going to tune into this because I just wasn't interested enough in the fight. You know what I'm saying? Now,
laziness in the promo, the Apex.
Before the pandemic. So here's where I agree with, where I'm going to be honest. Before the pandemic, we never had the Apex, right? During the pandemic, they needed to do the Apex. It made sense. Now, if you guys are going to do Apex, you guys are saving money on these events, right? Because they don't have to go to an arena and, go through that whole process of spending money in an arena. They can do it at the Apex and save money, right? So if you guys are going to save money, you guys need to bump up that fighter pay. You guys need to bump up the promotion. That's why I do agree with it, where it's like, if you guys are going to keep doing Apex every other time, and they are starting to get into the flow of throwing events, outside of the Apex, but then it's like they'll do a couple events, a fight night or so. It's almost if it has to be like a bigger fight. Like Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. They did that in an arena, right? Now, I think we're getting Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales, and we're getting that in the Apex. So it's like, yo, if you guys are going to do all these events at the Apex, bump up the pay. Bump up the promotion. Where's the money going? I don't know specifically, but we're not seeing it as the fans. So here's why I agree with this a little bit,
fatigue and the recycled press conferences with stupid questions like, what does this fight mean to you?
This is
the
facts.
Fighters are still elite. There's more talent in the UFC right now than at almost any other point in history. That's why we're not giving up. The UFC needs to understand something. This fan base knows when the UFC is trying to force something fake. Take Bo Nickel, for example. At UFC 300, they put him on the main card against Cody Brundage. Like, what the fuck? No one cared about
that was
fight.
ridiculous.
Meanwhile, Prohaska versus Rakic was sitting on the
Yeah,
prelims.
see,
It
that was
obvious
ridiculous.
They were trying to manufacture hype, and it backfired.
Come
Bo
on.
Nickel now lost, and the entire MMA fan base turned on him. Not because they hate him, but because they never asked for the push in the first place. Let's compare Bo with someone who is another rising star like Orobai. He lost too, but fans didn't bully him because he didn't come in with a UFC-sponsored spotlight. He came in raw, and fans appreciated that. That's the point. Let the audience decide who becomes a star. Look at Sean Strickland. The UFC didn't push him. They barely cared. He was stuck on every Apex card, fight after fight. But then, a few viral moments.
I'm gonna do a TikTok dance over your grave. Oh, fucking, look at this grown-ass man on fucking TikTok. That's the problem.
A last-minute booking with Izzy.
Strickland, you're in.
Boom. A star was born. Not manufactured, not scripted, naturally. That's the secret. You don't need a next Connor. You just need to let people shine. And stop faking it. Fans can tell the difference every single time. When the UFC decides they're stars, before they've earned it, fans feel it. We love Sean O'Malley. He's a really cool dude. But let's be honest, no one was asking for a rematch between him and...
I mean, my God. I saw this fight at the casino. I went to the casino. Tony Ferguson showed up. I'll put some pictures in right now. Yeah, I saw this fight at the casino, man, and I mean, talk about a fight that should have been made again, man. It's just a slap in the face to the sport, and this is what we mean about the forcing. It's like, and I love Sean O'Malley, man. I love Sean O'Malley. I love his fight style. I love his personality. I love how he's unique. I love everything about Sean O'Malley, but he did not deserve to get another title shot. And if he loses, and if I think when he loses, this doesn't do anything for him. It was pointless for him to take this fight because it just makes it worse. Where does he go from here after this? Like, he should have just waited to fight Corey Sandhagen. That's a winnable fight. That's a winnable fight for Sean O'Malley. That's a fight that the fans wanted to see, but we're getting a fight that we didn't ask for. People are starting to come around to Merab, which is cool to see, but what? We're going to watch Merab just dominate him again for 5 straight rounds? It doesn't make no sense. So, I don't know, man.
And Merab.
Dana, straight ahead. You know, like I said, Merab had his pick against any of these bantamweight contenders. So for you, why was this the fight that you felt should have been made?
This is the fight that people wanted to see.
What?
Except for these 6 guys over here.
What? Nobody. Yo, nah, Dana White. See, bro, this is what gets us pissed off with the UFC sometimes, right? What the hell is y'all problem? We love y'all, man. We really do. We love the sport. We love the fighters. But, yo, this gotta stop. Stop with the monopoly power tripping. Just stop. Stop with the power trip. This is just random. Nobody asked for this fight. We did not want to see Merab go up against Sean O'Malley again. I would have rather seen Merab fight Corey Sandhagen. Wait to make the match. I mean, Petr Yan is already number 2. We've seen what happened with that already. We've seen Merab run him over. I knew that was going to happen. I made a video about that on a channel a year, and however long ago that was. But I mean, come on, like we have to look at the rankings right now. Like, yo, this is ridiculous. Like, who's like, bro? I think Merab is like number 2, or let me just check it, because this is like very, very wild. Let's see. Okay, so Sean O'Malley's number 1. Petr Yan is number 2. Umar is number 3. We've seen Umar literally beat number 1, which is Sean O'Malley, destroy number 2, which is Petr Yan, beat Umar, which is number 3. And then from there, obviously, we're getting down to a lower and lower ranking. Number 4 is Corey Sandhagen. Number 5 is Song Yadong. Song Yadong is coming off of a win versus Henry Cejudo. He doesn't deserve a title shot. Corey Sandhagen, I mean, why not give him the title shot? Or you put Merab on ice and make Sean O'Malley fight Corey Sandhagen for the number 1 contender spot, a fight we all wanted to see. I don't understand this. I really don't. And the fans agree.
Guys in the comments.
If you feel like your brain craves pleasure from
Come on, man. Nobody cared.
Craves being a man of integrity, it's probably no.
Look. Nobody asked for this. No one. Come on.
Why didn't we get O'Malley versus Petr Yan too? That was the perfect number 1 contender fight to make. So what happens now if O'Malley gets dominated like he did in the first fight? You tell me in the comments. This is why so many of the UFC's biggest moments have nothing to do with prepackaged graphics or scripted promos. They happen in real time. A walk-off KO,
Right.
a post-fight speech.
There is not one MMA fan on the planet that doesn't want to see me rematch you, Charles, or rematch you, Justin Gaethje.
A shove at the weigh-ins. A call-out that goes viral. That's the real marketing.
Fuck that. Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker. I'm gonna fight your fucking ass.
Conor McGregor didn't become the biggest star in MMA because the UFC told us to like him. He talked. He fought. He backed it up. Khamzat blew up after a 10-day turnaround, not because of a marketing campaign, but because of chaos. Jorge Masvidal had 15 years in the game, but it was a flying knee, a bad haircut, and a 3-piece with a soda that made him a megastar. The UFC doesn't need to manufacture moments. It just needs to...
Yes. Facts. Stop forcing shit. This is true.
Let them
My
happen.
goodness.
The fans will do the rest, and I'll tell you exactly how they can do that. Let's start with the obvious, promotion. We're not asking for Hollywood-level productions. We just want more real interaction between fighters.
Yes.
Like I said earlier in this video, remember Aldo versus Conor? Full press tour, multiple cities, energy in every room. Of course, not every fight needs a world tour.
Right.
Jones versus Aspinall, one press conference in the UK, one in the US. That's not too much to ask. The next thing is face-to-face, not FaceTime. Probably the most important thing when it comes to promoting fights. Stop doing Zoom calls, start doing face-offs. Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria should have been a promo goldmine. Instead, we got a dead Zoom call on ESPN. Ilia was trying to imitate Max's shadow box.
It was funny, though.
What even was that?
Working with the backs. Bro, what the f*** is this?
Just like these guys in press.
So they used to do this a lot, where the the IRL interactions and things like that, which they need to do for sure. That's not hard for them, the UFC, to get done. They need to go back to doing that. But the interview between Max and Ilya on that ESPN Zoom call was hilarious, and it did do a good job of promoting the fight, but it could have been better. You know what I mean? It could have been better for sure.
Of each other for 45 minutes. It's not that hard. Sure, the pre-fight interviews with DC or the Nina drama segments are fine, but give us what we really want. Two fighters, face-to-face, sitting down, talking shit, and selling the fight. Boxing promotions are a mess, but even they get that part right. Film the interview a month out, sit on it, drop it a week before the fight. Imagine this, John Jones and Tom Aspinall sitting at a table, face-to-face. Tom drops the duck on the table. John brings the Coke. Joke. John starts ranting about how Tom is a nobody writing hype. Tom says he doesn't care about his legacy. He just wants to be undisputed champion. John fires back. No, you want to fight me because I am the legacy fight? That's the type of moment that goes viral before the fight even happens. We don't need goofy Instagram skits. We don't need who has the strongest grip content. This isn't baseball. This isn't hockey. This is fighting, and fans want tension. Stop overloading the calendar. This one might be the most important. There are too many pointless cards, and when there's a fight every single week, no fight feels special. How are you supposed to promote a pay-per-view that's 3 weeks away when you've got to market 15 Apex fights before that? Scale it back. Let matchups breathe. Let fighters build hype over time. Because real hype happens naturally. You can't fake it. Like Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez, they caught fire at the press conference. Not because the UFC planned it, not because the fans demanded it, but because it just happened. And that's the beauty of it. You can't force bad blood, and fighters shouldn't try to fake trash talk or drama when there's no real tension to begin with. New voice. Let's be honest, Dana White isn't the same guy he used to be. There was a time when he promoted every card like it was life or death. He was on TV, doing interviews, hyping fighters, selling storylines. Now he's promoting boxing. He's busy with Power Slap. And when he does speak, it's usually about John Jones or his next business venture. Dana White used to go on national television and say, "We have the scariest man on the planet." He'd say things like, "He hits like a Ford Escort."
Francis Ngannou has the world record for the most powerful punch. His punch is the equivalent to 96 horsepower, which is equal to getting hit by a Ford Escort going as fast as it can. And it's more powerful than a 12-pound sledgehammer swung full force from overhead. Holy shit.
And now he barely talks about the next generation of stars unless they're already trending. So maybe it's time for a new voice. Someone who actually lives and breathes this era. Someone who shows up for more than Press Week and Power Slap. The UFC doesn't need a replacement for Dana White. It needs a new frontline promoter. A fight hype guy. Someone who can look at a matchup like Islam versus Ilya and say, "This is our Super Bowl. Let's make it feel like one." If you're the type who says, "It's just about the fights, nothing else matter," then go watch ONE FC. Because the fighters there are scrapping and the fights are amazing. But the UFC, it's never been just about fights. That's what separates it from every other MMA promotion. So, if you want pure fights with zero build-up, zero drama, and zero tension, go watch ONE FC. But for the rest of us, we want the full experience. And that's what the UFC used to deliver.
All right, guys. Very, very, very great video. Shout out to MMA Explained. I pretty much said what I had to say in the video about this, man, and you know about everything within the video. So all that's left for you guys to do now at this point is drop WJR Bless in the comment section down below if you made it this far in the video. Also, guys, let me know what you guys think about the UFC. Me personally, I'm just a hardcore at this point, man. I mean, I enjoy watching it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm just leave it at that for now. I said what I had to say in the video, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.